Hey mathletes, in the second part of this lesson, we're going to look at the domain of a logarithmic function. The only difference between a logarithmic function and a radical function is that the logarithm does not include 0, so x is greater than or equal to 0. In this case, we're going to have parentheses for our interval representing the open interval. Other than that, it's pretty much very similar how we will do the logarithmic function. Compared to the radical function. So in this example, we're going to find the domain of function s of r, which equals 4 log base 3 of the quantity 4r plus 7. So we're going to take that inside the logarithm portion, 4r plus 7. We're going to set up an inequality of 4r plus 7 is greater than 0. And then we'll solve this, subtracting 7 from both sides. So we get 4r is greater than negative 7, and then we'll divide by 4 to get r is greater than negative 7/4. Okay. On my number line, I'm going to plot negative 7/4, and since r is not including 7/4, it is going to be an open circle, and greater than is shaded to the right. So we will have negative 7/4 to infinity as our solution with an open interval, so a parenthesis at negative 7/4. Here's what the graph looks like, and we can see very clearly the asymptote right here at 7/4, which is almost negative 2, right there. So this is an example with multiple solutions with logarithms. So I'm going to again take the inside. The plus 6 doesn't impact our domain at all. So I'm going to set our inequality 25 minus 4x squared is greater than 0. I will subtract 25 from both sides. So I have negative 4x squared is greater than negative 25. And then in dividing both sides by negative 4, just like a previous example we had, my inequality sign will change to x is less than 25/4. Now, as x squared, I'm going to need to square root both sides. And again, because it is x squared, I will have two solutions, both a positive and negative, 5 halves. I can just square root the 25 and square root the 4 to get 5 halves. So x is less than 5 halves is one of my answers, and then applying my inequality and negative flip, x is greater than negative 5 halves. So now when I look at the number line, this is interesting. I get negative 5 halves on the left and positive 5 halves on the right. So since x is greater than, let's look at the less than. X is less than 5 halves. So I'm going to have an open circle, and I'm going to be shading to the left here. When I look at the second piece, x being greater than negative 5 halves, again, an open circle, but this time I'm going to be shading to the right. My solution is the part that overlaps right in the middle. That is my solution. And so as far as my inequality goes, or my interval goes, negative 5 halves to positive 5 halves, that is an open interval, so I will have parentheses. Let's take a look at the graph. Here you can see the graph of natural log of 25 minus 4x squared plus 6. And you can see our graph, 5 halves, negative 5 halves here, positive 5 halves here. And we can see we got these asymptotes, so we're not including, but that's the only part of the graph that we see.